Ladies and gentlemen, we continue here with the first round of the European Darts Grand Prix. And welcome to the stage a former Dutch Open semi-finalist, playing in his first ever PDC Euro Tour event. From the Netherlands, Gies. It's now time to meet a World Championship quarter-finalist, a UK Open semi-finalist, and a winner of 4 PDC ranking titles, the Saint Alan Tabern.
The penultimate match of the afternoon session here on first round day in Sindelfingen. The European Darts Grand Prix sees European Tour debutant Gies from the Netherlands, who came through the European qualifiers last night, up against one of the UK qualifiers, Alan Tabern. Alan seeing off Richard North and Ronnie Baxter in the UK qualifiers, while Gies beat none other than former BDO world champion Christian Kiss last night, 6-3. And also Zoran Lertback at 6-4. And looking at Gies' website, he's also an MC and caller, so if any of our guys on stage lose their voices over the weekend, maybe we can call upon him. Alongside me for this one is Chris Murphy.
Yeah, we seem to be well covered in that department. A shout out to our Superman, little Richard Ashdown, doing the spotting duties and the MC duties here. And Dan Dawson, of course, filling in, doing interviews afterwards. Which one of this pair will he be speaking to? Alan Tabern in his 4th European Tour appearance of 2018, and he's been making some decent headway. A last 16 run at the German Open in Saarbrücken, and he's playing very, very good stuff, so it'll be a tough test on a European Tour debut for this Dutchman. We will have MVG tomorrow, but right now it's just MG.
Alan to throw first. Game on.
Representing Holland, and it showed in the practice starts that he's not used to all this, because he went up there and was attempting to throw in the wrong order. The practice starts, our match official George Noble had to tell him to hold his horses
140
and wait for Alan Tabern to throw his.
Yes, Mats did attempt Q School at the start of this year. Been playing with some success, first at junior level in his native Holland since around about 2011.
100.
Yeah, that was the inaugural European Tour Q School. Unable to come through, but did enough to be able to try and qualify for these European Tour events, and as you said, came through that field, beating the likes of Christian Kiss, Zoran Lertback, and getting over the Christian Girdle hurdle in the first match. And here's a man who's reached the semi-finals of the Dutch Open before, which is no mean feat.
76.
The game's biggest Open event, around 3,000 people entering that one, so it is some feat to come through and reach the last 4 of a field like that.
Well, Alan's well ahead in this leg, but not the tidiest of setups, but he will be back for a 2-darter with some time on his hands here. Alan Tabern rolling back the years, regaining his tour card at the start of this year on day 2 of Q School.
He short in the first leg, Alan Tabern.
Well, a solid start for the Saints. And yeah, he is playing actually to a similar standard to his kind of 2009 to 2011 heyday, Alan Tabern.
108!
Well, there's a glimpse into what Gies can do.
Yes, that'll settle the nerves.
But yeah, in those days he was qualifying for all the big TV events, picking up
46.
Pro Tour titles too. Since dropping out of the main tour, he's won 4 Challenge Tour titles before regaining his tour card, and he's had a good start to the year. He's playing really solid stuff. In terms of runs in tournaments, it's never transpired that he's got beyond the last 16, but the actual standard of play is very, very high in the sort of top third of players on the professional circuit.
Yes, and he sort of said, you know, with no real pressure, he's just going out and enjoying himself and giving it another go.
Well, he might not be enjoying this leg because Gies is down to 45 after just 9 darts thrown.
Yeah, real contrast to the opening leg from the Dutchman.
60.
Maybe just those early nerves took a while to settle.
Well, maybe they've crept back in, but he could tidy it up in a dozen darts, and he does.
Second leg,
And on any stage, by any standard,
Game on.
that is a very good leg of darts. Superb stuff from the debutants. We have just one match left this afternoon. The Wall, Martin Schindler, hoping to leave the German fans happier than when Gabriel Clements lost out to Jan Dekker earlier on. He faces Wales' Robert Owen. And then
85.
a really exciting few matches this evening. 8 games. From the beginning, there are standout ties. Danny Noppert against Christopher Teichke. Then you've got Jermaine Watermaner against Tony Alcinas. The home nation qualifier Christian Bunzer against Jamie Lewis. The World Championship semi-finalist, of course. Later on in the evening, Ricky Evans against Kyle Anderson. James Wade against Max Holt. What a game that could be. And Dawson Merschel against our sometimes commentary colleague Paul Nicholson.
Yes, Paul Nicholson qualified for this event,
60.
which is great for him. And sadly, that means you've got me in the commentary box deputising for him this weekend. Well, there's a chance for Tabern to capitalise on that poor visit from Gies.
105.
Tabern came through the UK qualifier, beating Roddy Baxter and Richard North. And North's a player who's been in very good form, and
45. Alan, you record
a very good
96.
result for Alan. Now, what will be the result at the end of this visit with 96 required? Double top would finish it off.
He short in the third leg, Alan Tabern.
And we've seen
Hoeveel match to
the last couple of visits an act of tidying up by this pair. Having gone wayward with the first start, it hasn't mattered.
Yes, tied it up well for a 15-darter Tabern. The crowd will build as we get into the evening session, as people finish work for the weekend and make their way to the impressive Glas Palace Arena here in Sindelfingen. And full houses all weekend, guaranteed.
Yeah, and in 7 events here, there have been 7 different kings of the Glass Palace. Stretching back to 2012 when Adrian Lewis was the first winner of a tournament held here. It's not always been the European Darts Grand Prix that's been held here, it has for the last few years, but Lewis in 2012, Wes Newton and Steve Beaton winning events here in 2013. 2 were held here then. Mervyn King, fittingly in 2014. Kim Huybrechts a year later, and the last couple of years, Michael van Gerwen and Peter Wright. Wright aiming to be the first man to defend a title here.
Yes, Adrian Lewis, you mentioned winning the first event. A reminder, Adrian not well this weekend, so was withdrawn from the event. So a 5th host nation qualifier was selected last night, and that was Robert Marjanovic, who will be last on stage tonight against the Englishman Andy Bolton. Tabern looking to fill it up here and does so with his first maximum of the match.
Yeah, and that's very timely from Tabern. Gets him back into the leg when he was seemingly out of it. And he will have the opportunity
57.
to take out a big finish for a big break.
137.
Not going to happen, but 92 is no certainty. So he'd like to leave himself handy here. He's knocked 30 off it. He's hoping to find the 57. A little bit of a let up and perhaps a let off. Well, now he's going to need a treble. Can't find one, so Tabern will return and should get at least a dart at the bullseye.
And you require 88.
So 88 for Tabern to establish a two-leg advantage over the Dutchman. Well, it's not going to happen now, so a great opportunity for Gies to bring us all square again.
Also almost a mirror image of the visit from his opponent.
52.
Both players. Well, Tabern really should have had a dart at some kind of double, and he's been punished.
Match Gies. With flag Allen to throw first. Game on.
Yes, Gies did well to pounce there and make the most of Tabern's mistake, but he's getting this fifth leg off to a flyer with his second maximum in as many legs. The man from St Helens on Merseyside. That hotbed of darts.
Yeah, 3 180s in the match.
57.
And yet to see a dart missed at double. Grimace from Alan Tabern after 4 perfect darts. 5 out of 6 ain't bad.
$58. $99. 60. And then you require 82.
Well, no dart missed at double yet, so as long as Tabern gets himself a dart, you fancy him for the leg. Now one has been missed, but as long as he hits this time, or when he returns, it won't really matter. Does hit this time. 82 finish. Very nicely done indeed.
Yes, for a 12 darter from Tabern, thrown very nicely. That bounce out won't help the Dutchman. He's really finding those treble 20s now, is Tabern, and another maximum.
192.
Back comes Gies though,
140.
with a 140. Can Tabern follow it up? No, he can't.
60.
Interesting stuff that Gies' qualification for this tournament has seen him basically double his career earnings. But really is a pivotal day, would be
140.
on a very big payday if he were to come through and win this match, and he's certainly not out of it. That 180's helped. Not going to do the 161, but 121 for Tabern.
121.
One treble will give him a dart at the bull. Would have to be treble 17. He's found it. Bull. Oh, brilliant.
Beautifully done. Beautifully done.
And that might just knock the stuffing out of Gies.
Game on.
Yes, it's a break of throw. Look at that, 2 12 darts in a row. Hit 180s in the last 3 legs as well, Tabern. world #1 Michael van Gerwen awaiting the winner of this in round 2 tomorrow. Michael having won the opening 2 European Tour events of 2018.
59.
He's just been confirmed as the Premier League stage winner for the 6th consecutive season, an unblemished
60.
record.
Yeah, incredible.
For Michael van Gerwen. Did win one of the floor events last weekend, but was beaten by Johnny Clayton in the quarterfinals on
78.
Sunday. An incredible performance from the Ferret, who we won't see this weekend. Didn't qualify, but we're going to see him, it looks like, for the rest of the European Tour events, having won one. And, whoa, look at that.
Oh.
Wow.
60.
That is desperately unlucky.
Well, we've seen this kind of thing before. The most famous was the Anderson 180 in the World Championship final. Who can forget that? Bit of bad luck. Alan Tabern determined not to let it affect him.
59.
Well, another ton 80 from Gies. This European Tour debut will certainly give him some confidence, whatever the outcome. Alan just moving right across the oche to try and find a way through to the treble 20, but not to be.
It's interesting how the draw has panned out, because Alan Tabern ended up playing Michael van Gerwen last time out of the same stage, didn't he? We could well have another tie between van Gerwen and White. Now then, Alan Tabern, this would perhaps be a nail in the coffin of Mats Gies, but the treble 15 could not be found. And I think this is kind of do or die, this 68.
68.
Yes, you'd have to think so, with Tabern poised on double top. It's double top for Gies.
48. Alan, you require 40.
To go to in one leg of victory then, Alan Tabern looking at double 10. That's a great guide. Uses it to full effect. And a little show of emotion you don't often see from Alan Tabern. A little fist pump. He knows that was a big dart and a big leg to win.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. We kind of called it as a must-win leg for Gies, and Tabern knew that too. So landing the double last start in hand. And the emotion just overspilling as much as it possibly can with a man like Alan Tabern.
140.
Now, just hoping to safely get to the finish line without running out of fuel. Is that far ahead?
100.
It's been a serene passage, despite glimpses of what Gies can do.
140.
He's managed to fire in 3 maximums. His finishing has been very good when he's had the chance to land a double.
58.
Problem is, he's only had 3 attempts.
Yeah, 3 maximums for Tabern and 7-ton 40s. So
45.
some decent power scoring, and that 1-2-1 check out as well have all helped edge Tabern towards the finishing line.
60.
And it's been the same kind of stuff that he's been producing on the tour in 2018, Alan Tabern. Mid-90s average. Solid finishing.
85.
And he's beating an opponent that he probably should beat. And could well be about to get the job done here. 91 required to finish it off and set up a second round clash with the world number 1, Michael van Gerwen.
Looking at, well, the bullseye. Oh, you can see the look says it always missed the big number.
Yeah, 16 would have left him the ball, and now he's handed a chance, a lifeline to his opponent.
51. Match require 50.
50 points required to stay in the match. Double top. Looks like a decent guide for Gies, and he's used it to fantastic effect.
So he's still very much in it,
Game on.
and probably didn't expect to be coming back to the board, the Dutchman.
Yeah, seemed to be sinking without a trace, but Alan Tabern threw out the life jacket.
50.
Another chance to go here. Tabern with the throw. Not the best of opening visits.
Well, yeah, perhaps needs to just shake the end to the previous leg out of his head. Because it is a difficult task,
58.
knowing that you should be. Stood on stage talking to Dan Dawson. Maybe that's why he missed. Maybe he didn't fancy talking to Dan.
140. $98.
I didn't know Dan could do sign language. I'm not sure what he was gesturing towards you there, Chris.
Oh, he sat somewhere near me, I didn't realise. Well, Tabern, despite the slip at the end of the previous leg, still in command. And that will go somewhere to helping him
100.
as he tries again to finish a job.
Yes, it is a finish, but not the easiest of finishes.
Well, that treble is
96.
crucial. That's why he went downstairs. 96, leaving him 170. And that looks tricky. Having to step right across the hockey to the left. Wonderful darts. Well, is he thinking about not going for this? Oh,
90.
naughty Alan
To
Tabern.
require
He
107.
took a moment there to think, didn't he?
Doesn't fancy Matt Gies to take this out. He's proven right. And now he wants tops to put an end to this first round
20.
clash.
Alan, you require 40.
So tops then for the match. At the second time of asking, does it this time?
And the match.
I'm sure we'll see more of Max Gies in years to come on the European Tour. But the young Dutchman's debut ended by the veteran Alan Tabern, who will take on the world number 1, Michael van Gerwen, tomorrow. He'll grab a few words with our man Dan Dawson before the final match of the afternoon session. Martin Schindler up against Robert Owen.
Alan, congratulations. Thank you. There was some excellent stuff in there. I mean, the average was right up in the high 90s for a lot of that game. This is impressive work.
I didn't realise it was in the high 90s. I was just trying to beat my opponent, to be fair, and I don't care how I beat him. I'll take a 70 average in a win than a 100 average in a loss. So I just dug in.
We've seen you this year back on the Pro Tour, playing week in, week out, and you're very, very competitive. You're right up there in the top 32 in terms of the averages. You're winning games and challenging the best players in the world. Do you think you're playing as well as ever?
No, nothing like, to be fair. I mean, if I was playing as well as ever, I'd be in the top 8 in the world. So, but the signs, and to be fair to Barry Hearn, he's give everybody a chance of making a living at playing at darts. So, I mean, I might not be the best in the world, but I can make a living out of it. So I'm going to take it. So, do you want to do 40 hours a week or come up here and play darts? So,
Absolute no-brainer, isn't it?
exactly, yeah. So that's where I'm at the minute. I mean, my ambition, I've no ambition to be world champion or anything like that. My ambition is to earn a living And then as I'm earning a living, I might create a bit of ambition.
How much have you got in the tank then? Because your first few months of this year, it's about sort of setting your stall out and seeing, well, where can I be by the end of the year? And your sort of targets must have changed a bit with how well you've been playing.
Well, they have, yeah. To be fair, in January, my targets was just to work for a living and just to play darts as a sideline. And I've played some good stuff. And what they say about form being temporary and class being permanent, maybe that applies to me. So maybe I have got the game there that can beat the big boys and compete with them, and then I don't know, maybe do some damage, I don't know, but I need to get my consistency level up there. So I'll throw 107 average followed by 90 average. That wasn't brilliant, but it was good enough, and that's all you need.
You get another crack at the world #1 in the next round, Michael van Gerwen, and you came very, very close to beating him last time out in the Euro Tour.
Well, I was very disappointed with that game, to be fair, because before I went up there, I said to myself, any chances you get, you've got to take them. And I took every chance to go 4-3 up or 4-2 up. I think I did 11 data. And in my head I was thinking 2 15 datas will win you the match, and every player in this tournament can do 2 15 datas, and it didn't arrive. It was like I was clipping the wire, and I was like, everything was a 60 or a 59. I was like, just when you don't need dodgy scores, I got them. But the good thing is I'm up there competing. And can I just do a sound out to Matt Edgar? He's not so good at the minute, so fingers crossed for Matt.
There you go. He gets another crack at Michael van Gerwen tomorrow. Ladies and gentlemen, Alan Tabern. We have one more game for you this afternoon, and it is the German #2, the Wall, Martin Schindler, beginning his campaign at the European Darts Grand Prix against the Welshman stack attack, Robert Owen.